Yeah, so Vngle is a civic insights company. So our whole focus is helping people whose mission is to serve communities in some capacity, help them get more real time information, insights on those communities through partnering with those communities. So we train members of the communities to be local grassroots reporters or civic creators in those areas to basically cover stories that usually don't get covered by mainstream media.
If you're looking for a space that feels like yours but comes with way more perks, then Bamboo's dedicated desk is exactly what you need. Now, when you sign up for a dedicated desk, what you'll get is an ergonomic chair, so your back won't be hurting while you're getting your work done. You'll also get free coffee and tea daily in order to fuel your grind. And don't forget, you get mail services and printing services right at your fingertips. And also, you get your own personal storage with the lockbox for your security and peace of mind. And it doesn't stop there. Just by being a member of any of the Bamboo locations, you get access to discounts from local businesses. So if you're ready to join the Bamboo community and find a space that's yours, what I need you to do right now is to go ahead and email Malika at bamboocowork.com or give them a call at 313-766-0134 and tell them that the Black Fridays podcast sent you. And right now, while the desks are available, if you sign up for a 6-month commitment, you'll get 1 month free. Or if you sign up for a 12-month commitment, you'll get 2 whole months free. I look forward to seeing you at the Bamboo locations. With that being said, let's get into the episode.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Thanks, But No One Asked You podcast, where storytelling meets unsolicited advice. And this is my good friend, Denny. We're doing the podcast together.
What's up? And I appreciate you for having me, but welcome to the Black Fridays podcast, where we tell inspiring stories of Black entrepreneurs who are doing good work in the community. So I appreciate you for being on the podcast today.
Wow. And this is why you can't give Black people nice things, like opportunities.
But it ain't about us. It's about our guests. So
yes, please welcome our guest, Mr. Blake Stoner. That's really his name, Mr. Blake Stoner.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Blake Stoner. I'm the founder of Vngle. We're a civic insights company, but I'm also the chair of the board of the Heart of South Downtown, which is a nonprofit really helping to steward the revitalization of downtown Atlanta, the core, literally where Atlanta was founded, and helping to revitalize 57 buildings into what will become America's biggest innovation district.
Man, that's super dope. And so we were talking off camera in terms of the connection that is going on similarly in Detroit. So we have a booming tech space that's up and coming. For me, I think it probably started around 2015, 2016, where you had a lot of independent founders that were doing their thing and started to spearhead this community. And now we see a lot more of the Detroiters, Motowns, known for automotive. We see these automotive companies starting to get into the mix, and then some of these other businesses as well. One of the largest mortgage businesses, Rocket, they actually started to consider themselves a tech business in terms of what they're building. So would love to, if you could paint the picture of what that scene is starting to look like for Black founders in Atlanta and how you're contributing to that. Would love to know a little bit more about that story and that journey.
Yeah, so obviously there's no city quite like Atlanta, and right now Atlanta has just this unique amazingness about it, especially from a cultural standpoint. So there's just definitely a lot of growth when it comes to startups of all kinds, but now more than ever, especially tech startups. And there's a lot of things popping up to support Black entrepreneurs. We're here at Atlanta Tech Village. I got my start here at Atlanta Tech Village, actually, here at Atlanta Tech Village Buckhead. But there's stuff popping up all around the city. But Black founders especially, they have a unique challenge, as we all know, from a funding standpoint, from an opportunity standpoint. It is what it is. And as far as Heart of South Downtown goes, our goal is to be basically like the connective tissue for downtown Atlanta, but also this future of this innovation district, and I'm making sure that everybody can come together to help spur economic growth. So across corporations, across community organizers, across the whole ecosystem, like just to have a truly connective force to help support people, not only in startups but just in general, just like people who are trying to grow their career, or just find a job. Like if this is going to be the center of creativity and for doers and for innovation, we also want to have a built-in on-ramp that anybody from all walks of life can actually skill up and do what they can to change their life. So we're thinking holistically about this in South Downtown.
So wait, I have a follow-up question. So you said the R word. You might know what that word was? Not that word, Denny.
Okay.
Revitalization. Now, I took a trip to Montgomery, Alabama Business School. They're working on their revitalization. Detroit is doing revitalization. Atlanta's doing revitalization. 3 Black cities, 3 historically, disenfranchised cities over time, but now on their way up. My question is, are y'all collaborating at all, or is everybody doing their own thing?
That's a great question. So I can only speak to us, and we are going to be very much collaborating, especially from the heart of South Downtown lens. That's the whole point of being the connective tissue for this district, and for the broader downtown area. And me personally, as a founder and someone who knows the highs and lows of starting up in Atlanta, I want to make sure that we get South Downtown right, and that there is opportunity and resources and exposure in general for anyone to be able to level up themselves, because it's not as streamlined as it should be, and it's there's enough roadblocks as it is in America, and just in so many communities of color in general. So we just want to make it easier. We have it's going to be a wealth of resource in one area. This might be one of the greatest economic engines for the city of Atlanta moving forward, maybe for the South moving forward.
What are some of those resources? Like what?
So coming. Mm-hmm. So in general, just everything you need end to end as an entrepreneur to grow. So just in general, South Downtown itself is going to be one unique place that an entrepreneur can come, a creative, a doer can come, and live, work, play. Okay. There's very little places that you have a community that is built around helping you move things to the next level. Mm-hmm. That you have community, like bona fide, like-minded community. You have restaurants. You have just fun activities. A literal ecosystem curated for entrepreneurship. And you got a lot of smart people that are all working together day in, day out to make this district safe and fun and productive. So just being in South Downtown is going to be a unique resource in itself. Yeah. But then going deeper, and South Downtown is still a very new project. The South Downtown project in its latest evolution has only been in this direction since 2024. So a lot of this is still new. But
yeah, because the ATV's only been down there for five months. They opened it up 5 months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well,
and they're the anchor tenant for the whole block or the whole area.
Yeah, they're definitely an anchor tenant. It might have been open a little bit long. I think it opened up in January. But yeah, regardless, they're definitely an anchor tenant. And there's actually going to be more ATVs opening up in South Downtown. But yeah, obviously tech is going to be the cornerstone of making South Downtown what it is, being whether you want to call it the startup, like a mini startup city or innovation district. Tech is going to be that no matter what. And to answer your question, so yes,
Collaboration. How are y'all collaborating?
okay, yeah. So collab. So again, everything's still pretty new, but it's all about just finding those alignments with organizations that want to support young entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs in general, and give them, whether it's mentorship or some type of resources. We want to streamline that and make South Downtown a pipeline for people who are trying to, jump into a new concept and build it from scratch. And you have end to end all the resources you need, just through the South Downtown ecosystem. So, I'll give you, well, this is not necessarily, well, I guess it is a little bit of a collaboration project too. So even right now, this is still pretty early, but I'll share one of my projects that I'm really working on for Heart of South Downtown is a big citywide hackathon. So right now, with the World Cup coming next year here to Atlanta and to many other parts of North America, and for South Downtown being adjacent to where the games are going to be, we have this once in a lifetime opportunity to invite the city of Atlanta to come and reimagine what do we do with the core of Atlanta, the historic origin of our city. What do we do with these buildings? And basically, we're gonna open up a hackathon to allow creatives, students, entrepreneurs, whoever, to come together. For again, we haven't finalized all the details, but come together and reimagine South Downtown with us. And some of the top ideas will most likely be piloted in South Downtown, maybe even become a part of South Downtown before the World Cup. So that's a unique way of collaboration, is inviting the city to work with us and think about grassroots powered or community powered ideas, and just crowdsourcing great ideas to ensure that this district actually reflects all of Atlanta.
So let me ask you this, taking a step back, for an out-of-towner like me, what is considered South Downtown Atlanta? And then also, where are you from in the A or Georgia? And what was it like growing up in that area?
Yeah, great question. So South Downtown is basically, it's literally the origin of Atlanta. So everything that we know of Atlanta now started in South Downtown. So if you come and or go to the website, you'll see all these historic buildings of some of the earliest buildings, like horse and buggy coming down the street. Like, these are the same buildings. And the idea and the theme that's going around a lot is that South Downtown is Atlanta's founding city now for founders, or a founding neighborhood now for founders. Excuse me. And geographically, it's like, the easiest way for me to say it for out of towners, like, is in relation to our public transit. So we have the center of our public transit here in MARTA is 5 Point Station. 5 Point Station is literally one side of South Downtown. And then the other side of South Downtown is another station called Garnett Station. So we operate everything in between two of the most important MARTA stations in Atlanta. And on the other two sides of these buildings are, Mercedes-Benz Stadium and State Farm Arena, and now the Centennial Yards, which is going to be the biggest entertainment district in the Southeast. And then on the other side is all the Georgia government. So it's like literally, and just for context, literally all of Georgia government, the Georgia State Capitol, the Fulton County Government Building, the Atlanta City Hall, the Georgia Municipal Association, which is the association where all mayors and city council members come together. So it's just South Downtown is just in this really unique space that is like literally the heart of Atlanta. And yeah, so that's the best way I can describe it for someone out of town. And as far as me, I grew up around Atlanta. I definitely spent a lot of my formative years in College Park. So a lot of people heard College Park.
Bubba Sparks, College Park.
There we go. Or Tuche.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's where I grew up, but a lot of my times is been South Downtown too. So like one of my first barbershops was in South Downtown. Another one of my barbershops was out. So I went to Morehouse for undergrad. I used to come back to South Downtown to get my hair cut, another barbershop. So, my story has been intertwined with South Downtown for a very, very long time.
Hey, listen, thank you all so much for listening to this episode and any episode of the Black Fridays podcast. But I got to be honest with y'all, I really think it's something missing, and I hate that y'all didn't notice it. The thing that's missing is your podcast. Why am I not listening to your podcast? You talked about making one with your friends years ago. You know that you need one to better market and promote your business, but yet you still don't have one. This is why I created the Pocket Podcasting course, to teach you how to be able to podcast with the essentials and tools that you have right at your fingertips in order to create. And I created 2 different ways in order for you to do that. You could join my digital do-it-yourself on-demand video recorded Pocket Podcasting course, where I go literally step by step from idea on how you upload your very first podcast episode. And for my people who like to have something a little bit more tangible, I have created a digital ebook that walks you through my podcasting journey, the things I've learned along the way, the tools and equipment that I use in order to create and elevate my show. Now, look, I don't want to keep you too long, but I'm going to make this as simple as possible. Go ahead and head over to www.blackfridayspod.com to learn more about the digital podcast course and also the podcasting ebook, or you can hit the links in the show notes to take you directly to each of those resources. All right, enough of that. Time to get back into the episode.
All right, so you said College Park. Have you been to the Skyhawks games?
Of course.
Now, have you been to the Dream games?
Of course.
Okay, when last time you went to a Dream game? I ain't seen you there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not a season ticket holder, but I've never seen you there, sir. I've never seen that hat.
Well,
at the game.
This hat ain't been there, but
He said, I done been there.
I've been there, and it's been hats there too.
Okay.
No, I mean, I honestly, I don't. It definitely was a few months ago the last time I went.
So at the beginning of the season, because the season's like 3 months long, maybe 4.
It probably was last year then, to be honest.
Oh, you see how quickly that turned, didn't he? He went from, I've been there, my hat's been there. I sat courtside a few months ago, last year.
I mean, I am there. I mean, sometimes you can't balance going to all the games and running.
Yeah, he just
told you. Or any of the games.
Doing.
Or any of the games.
He can't be sitting at the games just chilling. He got stuff to do.
Support women. That's all I'm going to say. Hashtag support women. All right, let's talk about these hats, because I need to know, because I asked you before you came in. I was like, is this part of your brand? You like, no, this is me. Like, I wake up with a hat on is essentially what I heard. So tell me about your style.
I mean,
it's giving Andre 3000 vibes.
I appreciate that.
He's from the A.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Andre is definitely a style a guru, for sure. Someone, you can't. Well, I can't say everybody, but definitely I looked up to for sure. But I don't even think of the hat as anything, or the hat in general. It's just me. Like I said, I mean, I style. Anyone that knows Blake Stoner knows style is attached to that. That's just unconscious.
Ooh, talk that talk. Anybody that knows Blake Stoner know coming through with the heat.
He said it's on me. I got it on.
It's just natural. I'm not even trying to glow.
It's a puddle on the hallway right there. It's just dripping wet.
I probably left it there. I ain't gonna lie. But no, I mean, that's just a part of me. I got into fashion in middle school, and I grew up around fashion. My mom was a model, and it's just something that I just was like, you know what, I like putting things together. And after you do it for so long, for so many years, it's just natural. I don't even try no more. I'm just like, I think this would be good. Let's just throw that on. And people are like, damn, Blake, that's a great outfit. Oh, really? Thank you.
See, we done let the cat out the bag.
Have you been to Detroit yet?
No, that's one place I haven't been to.
If you come to Detroit, you're gonna fit right in with the swag and the fashion, because in Detroit we love to dress. It get cold up there,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
when you put on layers, people really put it on.
Layers.
The chains, the minks, the hats, all the above. Like you gonna see it all. So yeah, you would definitely fit in. They're gonna think you from there.
Are you familiar with the Buffs?
Cartier glasses.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know Cartier glasses, but
Yeah, so the Buffs are they're made out of buffalo tusk. The what you call it, the stick part of the glasses. Yeah, so those is what we call buffs. So Atlanta tried to make a bold claim that they started that trend. It's not true at all. Detroit started that trend. Some Detroiters started to come down here and migrate back and forth. Put Atlanta folks on game way back in the 1900s. And so this is how it started to come about.
Okay, let me help you out because that's actually just not possible, right?
What do you mean?
So Isabella Wilkerson wrote a book called Caste. That's not the book we're going to talk about today. So make sure we are oriented. The book she wrote was The Warmth of Other Suns. And it is about the great migration of blacks from the South to the North.
Yeah.
So by sheer definition, all the blacks your grandparents are more than likely from, where are your grandparents from?
So my granddad's side is actually from Atlanta. Or Georgia, at least.
Right. So all of them mugs, they're from the South. So whatever came up north, it literally came from the South. It's not possible that anything
it's
came
a
from the
feedback
north.
loop. It's a feedback loop. I
See,
don't disagree with that.
You switching it up like he
No,
did. Now
no.
it's a loop. Before it was a...
I don't disagree with that. But the thing is, Detroit put Buffs on the map, and we still to this day put Buffs on the map. And so we influence other places. Nobody started that trend but Detroit.
Did they trademark it?
Yes. I'm working with the city of Detroit right now to trademark, go through the process.
They trademark it ain't real. It ain't if it ain't patented, it ain't real.
No, nobody own it but Cartier. But Cartier owes a great deal of their budget and finances to the city of Detroit.
You heard that.
Tap in.
Cartier, we need a sponsorship deal.
Correct. I'll wear buffs on every episode of my podcast and any podcast I go on. If you just talk to me, we can make something work out.
Okay, now let's pivot because you have a whole company called Vngle, and you said it's something, but I'm going to butcher it. What is Vngle?
Yeah, so Vngle is a civic insights company. So our whole focus is helping people whose mission is to serve communities in some capacity, help them get more real-time information, insights on those communities through partnering with those communities. So we train members of the communities to be local grassroots reporters or civic creators in those areas to basically cover stories that usually don't get covered by mainstream media, or just in general, just to be an extension of institutions to help better cover issues that just need more regular understanding on what's going on. So we started as more of a grassroots news company, but then we started to realize, because of all the technology we've built and just the stuff that how we operate, we're actually kind of limiting ourselves, calling ourselves a news company, because we're not in the traditional sense of news at all. We're not, I ain't gonna say at all, but we just operate completely different. And because of that, we're able to, support many people beyond just news. So like our core demographics, our newsrooms or media in general, governments and universities and nonprofits, like anyone that needs a just real-time understanding on the communities they serve, which is hard to do. A lot of people are out of touch. A lot of people have blind spots. A lot of people are relying on other platforms, like certain social media platforms and stuff, that is just a maze of misinformation and algorithms. So it's just like, it's really no infrastructure there to allow critical institutions to get real-time information. So that's what we realized, hey, we're more than a content or news operation. We're actually built civic infrastructure. And this summer, as I was saying, I haven't made it to any dream games. We've been working to reposition the entire company. So this is very new. We've been operating as a civic insights company for probably a little, if not probably maybe exactly a month, or maybe a little over a month. Right. So I can't make it to all the dream games. But
No, you still mad about that? We done moved on.
I'm from College Park. I'm just like,
I'm shocked.
You disrespecting me at this point.
You disrespecting the dream. I don't know.
Hey,
She been here for 3
You got
minutes.
time.
Listen,
Listen, you got time.
Right.
You got time. You got like 2 months.
Listen, we're gonna move on.
So let me,
I just say something else.
you pissing the guests off. All right.
I'm bringing us all down to the same level.
So let me ask you this: where did your civic engagement come from? Because I know you talked a little bit about you having barbershops and starting those. You talked about the South Downtown initiative that you are also a part of. But Vngle has a very civic engagement focus. So where's that come from for you? Like, did you grow up with people who were community organizers in politics, anything like that? Where'd that come from?
100%, 100%. Thank you for asking. Yes. So I grew up in community work my entire life. Just pretty much born in it. My grandfather was one of the freedom riders in the civil rights movement.
Wow.
And it is a fun fact. I don't always like talking about it, but it gives context. He's actually was one of the white freedom riders.
Okay.
So like he my grandfather. Yeah. Worked directly with Dr. King and was jailed with John Lewis. Like he's an anomaly.
Yeah.
And so to the point that I realize now as an adult he was literally an anomaly. And he's still alive. He still was.
Shout out to Grandpa.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, he was in the University of Chicago when the civil rights movement started, and he was like, I gotta be a part. I gotta do something. And he transferred to a little college called Tougaloo College, Mississippi, which is at HBCU. He transferred to a HBCU in the middle of the civil rights movement just to be down with the civil rights movement.
Wow.
And he was a part of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee,
Yep.
and CORE, which are two of the main, not main, obviously you had
they were pivotal during that
right,
time.
right. You had other organizations, but in terms of like field operatives, especially people who weren't in the ministry, those the two of the main ones. So having him and me being the only person who carries on his name as a stoner, which is my name.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Biological stoners. But yeah, like I'm his only descendant. So that always played a role. Like I have to carry his name. And actually, I have so his name is Peter Stoner. I'm Blake Peter Stoner. So I literally carry his first and last name.
Wow.
And then my dad is a city councilman in College Park. That's why I'm in College Park all the time.
Hey, you ain't gonna make eye contact with me when you say College Park.
Yeah, he really from around there.
I'm
right?
really from College
Has
Park.
he been to the games? We'll move forward.
He's definitely at the game.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pull up on him and say hi.
Yeah. But yeah, so I grew up knocking on doors, registering people to vote well before I could vote myself.
Wow.
I mean, literally since early elementary school. That was just something my dad was pushing me out the house. Like, you need to go. Like first time he did it, like I was a kid. Our neighbor, her husband died, and she was like, Blake, you got to do something to support her. I want you to go door to door and talk to every neighbor and tell them our neighbors had lost her husband, and you want to raise funds for her. And he did. I did that. I mean, of course, who's gonna tell a little boy, that hey, our neighbor just died. I'm just want you have any extra money I can give to her?
Right.
Everybody was like, okay, and they just went, and and of course that really just, I never forget that. I really just did something for her, and she never forgot that, obviously. But that's and then me and my dad running for office. He ran for office many times. He has a lot of persistence to be where he is today. I just learned the ins and outs of grassroots organizing. Just through my grandfather and my dad. And then in college is when Ferguson happened. College for me, at least, when Ferguson, Missouri happened, the death of Mike Brown. And during that time, the NAACP was sponsoring AUC. Like I said, I went to the Morehouse, which is part of the Atlanta University Center. AUC, which is Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Morris Brown. We have a theological school. I forgot the name. Morehouse School of Medicine. A lot of HBCUs, all in one little cluster. And the NAACP was sponsoring AUC students to go to Ferguson right after it happened, to do something when it comes to voter registration and stuff like that. And that was just like the most obvious thing for me to do. I grew up doing that. I was like, I gotta go. That's easy. So I did that, and it was my time in Ferguson that actually laid the seeds for Vngle, because something just told me, like, if you're gonna be going door to door in Ferguson, try to get a different understanding from what everyone else is talking about. You got the entire every mainstream media outlet talking about this little city, right outside of St. Louis. Can you learn something they can't learn? So what I did, I had a little notebook, and every door I knocked on, like, hey, my name is Blake. I'm with the here to help register people to vote with the NAACP. Are you registered to vote? By the way, if you have a second, can I talk to you about what is it like to live here? You know, and I did that door to door to door to door, and I just had like, you know, at the end of each day, just had all these extensive understanding. Like, oh wow, you know, look at these correlations. Like these, you know, all these things are happening. Like I didn't hear any of this stuff on the news, and it's like, oh, this goes way deeper than Mike Brown. Like, And I remember it was one time that really just like stood out the most. That was like, it was two neighbors who had never talked to each other about it, but they both equally had like this crazy experience with the police. That police like literally kicked down their door, threw them against the wall. Did all kind of crazy stuff to them.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, did you ever talk to your neighbor about it? Because like y'all have the identical stories, you know. So I left Ferguson like, there's a lot of things not being represented, you know, in our communities.
So that was the norm there, pretty much, is what was happening.
And that's what I left, you know, like people made it seem like Mike Brown was an anomaly, but that was actually the culture of Ferguson, Missouri, you know. So I was just like, oh, but that, you know, after you see a problem, you can never unsee it. So like I left Ferguson now knowing like there's some critical gaps in our news infrastructure, you know, and like, what does that mean? You know, like at this time I'm sophomore going into my junior year of college. I'm just like, I can never not unsee that. I go to College Park. I see what my dad's doing. And I'm like, oh, there's a lot of stuff falling in the gaps here in College Park. I'm going travel across the country. Cannot unsee that problem. And then, you know, the more I go into it, the more I realize, oh, there are some literal, fundamental, historic infrastructure gaps in how communities are represented across America and across the world. And I just felt that was something critically important to address and something I thought was worth dedicating my 20s to. So that's what I did. And I built Vngle to do just that.
Fire.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have one last question before we get into unsolicited advice. I'm gonna need you to give some unsolicited advice. But, you know, as you were talking about news, media outlets and stuff, I decided after the 2020 election, no, not 2020, because 2020 was fine, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, 2020 was good.
2020 was good. It was the 2016 election.
Yes.
So after 2016 election, because for 4 years, I really only listened to NPR. And I just felt like I was so tired of just hearing this man's name. And I was like, why every day I wake up, I got to hear this man's name? Because he's doing something every day. Every day he's doing something crazy. And every day, even NPR was talking about him. And I just decided, you know what? The next time he gets elected, I'm just not going to listen to the news. If it were to happen. Sure enough, here we are 8 years later, and he has been reelected. And I just was like, I'm not going to listen to the news. And I made that decision primarily because I was very frustrated that I was shocked during the election. So I sat and watched the election, and we had CNN on, or NBC, whatever the channel was that everybody tuned into on the left. And I was sitting there and I was like, I just want to see what they're doing on Fox News. Like, I don't really travel over there. You know, it's a sundown town, but I'm going to just slide through Fox News and just see what they got going on. Do you know, I turned on Fox News. They had a reporter sitting on a bar in a honky-tonk bar in Nashville. They was having a watch party. Like, it was a Super Bowl draft. Like, they was having an NFL draft. Like, it was a watch party. It was a party going on. And if you flip back to NBC or CBS or whatever channel it was, it was so somber. They were like zooming in on counties and trying to count the literal little pieces of counties that might be blue. And I was like, these are two very different vibes. But what pissed me off was that it was very apparent that people who tuned into Fox News knew what was going to happen. They just knew this man was going to win. I just knew he wasn't, because NPR had portrayed this story of like, he's doing crazy stuff. Nobody's at his rally. Nobody's showing up. And I'm just like, yeah, this is a clown, da 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 da. And then I'm sitting on the couch looking dumb as hell. And I said, you know what? I'm pissed at everybody now, because this is craziness over here on the Fox News side. But now NPR and CNN, y'all have pissed me off because you're no better. You just hyped it in the opposite direction. And now I just feel like I can't trust nobody. So I stopped tuning into all of it. I do not listen to the news. I do not listen to NPR Up First anymore. If it ain't got to do with money or education, I really am not tapped in. And I choose not. That's a choice. And I feel like I had to turn my back. And I'm very frustrated because growing up, we had 60 Minutes. We had the same news programming. Everybody was getting the same message. So all of that to say, I was going somewhere with this before I started getting pissed off.
Real quick, what part of the country were you in? Because I know you lived a few different places, but like, where were you living, and then did that help at all with where you were?
2016. Where was I in 2016? I was in New York. I was in Harlem.
Okay. All right. So yeah. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it was different.
Yeah.
2008, I was in Philly. 2020, I was in Seattle. The last election, I was here in Atlanta.
Okay.
And it's just, I just feel like this my fault for only looking at one source of news. That's on me. That is my fault. And I now know I need to be a little bit more thoughtful, and I need to spread my awareness around. But like,
that's where you got Vngle.
And so I applaud you for like actually going around and doing the actual work. But when it comes to your knowledge and you're tuning in, who do you tune into? Because I was told USA Today was the best, most reliable, most down the middle. But somebody who works in media, who's working in the news, what do you tune into to know what's going on?
Vngle. To be honest, but seriously, because like the way I say that, so I hop around a lot. If I'm just trying to like see what other organizations are talking about, I hop around. I do not have a single source of truth, which is the issue. No one in America has a single, or in the world has a single source of truth anymore. It's hard. Is the short answer. We're in this, I always tell people we're in this news matrix.
It's crazy. I hate it.
No, it's like, but it's reality, because there's a lot of things I've learned in this journey. It's like, one, it's just there's a lot of, because of the news business has dwindled. There's just a literal regression in some areas of coverage. It's just because you don't have enough resource to cover everything. So a lot of it is defaulted to what's going to get the most attention, not necessarily what is always the most informative. Everybody cares about what the president says, so everybody talks about that. But the same amount of time and resource it takes to talk about the president, you could talk about what's going on in someone's community. But someone's small community doesn't have the same effect as the president. So it's just like these are what traditional media organizations are thinking about. They're just thinking about, how do we continue to grow our audience, to grow our revenue. But it's not necessarily the best for staying informed or the best in local coverage.
Yeah.
So you got that issue, and then you have the issue that there's these gaps. Like I said, there's literal coverage gaps called news deserts, where like there's no actual like agreed upon number of like how much of America is a news desert, but there's some that are up to like 60% of American counties do not get daily coverage at any given day. So think about that.
What do you mean? Like they don't have a local news?
Right. A local news like because station.
It's based on media markets. So like, for example, in Detroit has a media market, but it will be inclusive of the suburbs and then other cities that's in southeastern Michigan. And then so like the next media market might be Lansing, which is the capital of Michigan, and so the surrounding cities around there. So excuse me, when he's talking about the deserts, he means like those smaller cities and towns. They don't have like their own coverage. You may have like an independent, but yeah, it's no traditional news source. They gotta pretty much get lumped up in everybody else's news.
Right. So like this goes back to the infrastructure problem I was saying. So it's like, if the once upon agreed upon medium to inform and stay informed is the news, if that infrastructure is not covering communities equally, or even majority of the country some days, at any given day, we don't actually have a comprehensive view of the country we live in. Right. So that's why I say we live in like everybody feels they're informed. Everybody is inundated with a ton of news or information every single day. It's too much, but it's also too much sourced from not enough. And I think that's the problem that people don't know, is that like there's literal sometimes members of the media that don't know everything, but we're relying on them to tell us information, but they don't have the infrastructure or the resource to cover some of the key things. So let's go back to Ferguson. A lot of people were echoing the same thing on Ferguson because Ferguson is a news desert. And a lot of these people aren't in Ferguson. They're going off of hearsay. They're going off of, someone who they parachuted into Ferguson who spent a day, maybe two, talking to people, and then they decided they're going to tell the whole country what they serve, which is cool. It's helpful, but it's not comprehensive. And that's the issue. So you got the resource problem, you got the news deserts, which are connected, but then you have the fact that everybody gets majority of their information nowadays through social media, which is not good, right? Yeah, it's literally just giving you all the information you want to see. It's just an echo chamber,
right?
So it's just like, so it is. So it's just like, even if you want it to be fully well-rounded, it's just not built for that to happen for you unless you just are actively looking across the political spectrum at different content. Then it may suggest, but it's not naturally built like that. So it's like that's why I say all that together, we live in this news and information matrix that we don't actually, no one, but vast majority of people are not informed. So even regular people, but then the decision makers of critical organ operations, a lot of our mayors, a lot of our university leaders, a lot of our nonprofit leaders, like these people do not have, no one has real-time information because that infrastructure doesn't exist anymore, and it's just getting harder and harder.
One of the other questions that I have for you is that you had mentioned that you had opened up some barbershops, and so obviously had some entrepreneurial endeavors prior to what you're doing now with Vngle and South Downtown. And so I just wanted to know, how did you go from being are you a barber yourself?
No, I didn't say I opened up a barbershop. I said some of my earliest barbershops were in South Downtown.
Oh, got you. Okay, I'm thinking like you had a past life as a barber, and then and now you transitioned over to the new space of what you're doing. But what is your professional background prior to getting into becoming a founder?
I mean, nothing. I guess grassroots organizing and stuff. But I started Vngle coming out of college, my senior year. So I've just been doing this. I mean, continue to go through different programs and finish just to continue to hone and grow myself as a founder. But I mean, I've been a founder for the last 9 years.
And would you deem yourself a content creator or media personality as far as Vngle goes? Like, are you jumping in? Are you empowering the creatives to go out and create on behalf of Vngle, or are you jumping in, you doing content yourself and contributing to the platform?
I mean, I've done content in the past for sure. But no, the whole idea is that we've built the infrastructure to allow creators to help get the training and the technology to share verifiable information in their community. Okay. So like once someone's certified, trained Vngler in the ecosystem, thank you. They can download our reporting tools on their phone, and we have this patented content forensics technology that once someone takes a photo or video in their community, it becomes end-to-end transparent. We can see exactly who took it at what time, what location, on what device, just like everything around like the origin or the provenance of how it was created. We secure it, and then by doing that in aggregate across a lot of different stories, you're having this. You're able to create this real-time feed of information that is end-to-end verifiable, and still has oversight that can then help partners that we work with get this real-time information on communities. And now we also have these new AI tools that we've integrated with that. So any partner that works with Vngle now, they can not only get a real-time real-time on-demand requests on what's going on in their community. They get these automated analysis across what's going on, across all this information. For that, all they have to see is just, the blind spots they're not seeing, the trends they need to pay attention to even more, and just like what other information do they need to better get a feed on and get and just can be better aided with more requests, and then that's the whole idea of what we do and how we support them.
And how can someone become a Vngler, and is it only limited to Atlanta or the Atlanta area?
So, I mean, anybody can come. Well, we're not in every. Well, we've reported all over the country, but right now we're primarily with this new infrastructure in Atlanta and New York.
Okay.
But going into next year, we're going to be doing a whole lot to just connect with more of America, especially given next year is the 250th anniversary of the country. So we want to do more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we want to do more. I think next year is like kind of like our, it'll be 10 years from when I had the idea to like now we're this fully matured, operation. So like let's see what we can do to show on our 250th birthday, what does America really look like today? As we already discussed, we're not going to get that from mainstream media. So just like we think that we could play a pretty significant role. So right now we're getting ready to just build up our partnerships and people who want to do more of that kind of storytelling all across the country.
That's amazing. All right, I'm ready. So at this point, you're going to give unsolicited advice. I'm going to give you two groups. You're going to pick who you want to give advice to, and then you're going to have about 30 seconds to give them like, look, this is what you need to do. So would you like to speak to entrepreneurs who have been in the game for 1 year or entrepreneurs who have been in the game for 5 years?
That's a great question. I would definitely take the 5 years.
Go ahead, go for it.
All right. So for entrepreneurs who've been in the game for 5 years, it's very simple advice, and that's just keep going. It's hard, especially if you're doing something impactful, especially if you're doing something impact related. There are the doubters. There's just so many issues, but I think the core thing you have to remember is you just have to keep going. You got to believe in yourself, believe in the value you're creating, knowing that you may be very well the person or the team needed to bring this innovation into the world. Yeah. And if you do not do it, it may not be done.